Well, Doug Ford hasn't moved into the Premier's office here yet. In fact, Kathleen Wynne's name is still on the door, but he has a lot of work keeping the promises that he made to voters. And the key one, putting more money in their pockets. That's what got him elected, according to a post-election study by Navigator, which is a communication strategy firm. The question is, what does this mean going forward for the province? And here's part of my conversation with Navigator's Jamie Watts.
He put on offer policies that were going to bring people immediate relief. He wasn't about building grand plans. He wasn't about building a great province. He was about building better lives for average people, and that's what people wanted this time out.
So the more Kathleen Wynne promised to spend money and Andrea Horwath promised to spend money, the less it was effective with voters?
Correct. Or at least with the voters that voted for Doug Ford.
Majority.
Exactly.
Right.
I think what's surprising was the extent to which people had become very concerned about themselves, their own family, and this has big implications for large provincial projects, for infrastructure, for all kinds of things. I think we have begun to detect a change in what people are wanting as their priorities, and we'll see how long that lasts. To say it was just an anti-Liberal vote is wrong. Mr. Ford found a message which resonated with people. His messages, which a lot of people made fun of, for the people, and help is on the way, were exactly what a lot of people wanted to hear.
Very similar to what his brother did when he took on City Hall.
I think he got some ideas from there.
And to keep voters happy, Ford has to be seen as moving quickly and wasting no time keeping his promises. Here's political strategist Amanda Galbraith.
He has to show them like action immediately, right? What we saw with the study, and I think people just see generally, is voters are impatient. The way they consume media, the way they consume in their everyday lives, they want stuff now. So any kind of studies, blue ribbon panels, consultations, like forget it. He's got to come out. I would, like, day one of swearing in and be like, these are the things I'm doing. I'd even actually frankly start next week and start rolling out like policy things or announcements that we're going to do things. So I think he has to be active and present and very straightforward with people.
What should he do first? Like, what are some of the key promises that he could implement very quickly?
I think the key promises people want to see happen are complicated. So gas tax is complicated, hydro rates complicated. The audit, I think, is something that they could announce quickly to get going. I think would be tremendously popular with the public.
Now, just a few minutes ago, I was telling you about a post-election study that offered analysis on why Doug Ford won, and it concluded it was because voters wanted more money in their pockets, and they believed that promise by him. Now, on the Navigator panel, Navigator's the one that did the study, Jean Charest was in town, former Quebec Premier, talking about the study, and I had an interesting conversation with him, asking him what his advice to Doug Ford would be.
The most important thing when you come in is to make sure you have the right people around you, and that's at every single level, from chief of staff to staffers in your office to the people in the public service that are the ones you want to work with, who are competent, who are good, and then the ministers that you're going to choose and the people who will be with them. That's key. If you get that right, you're on a good start. He needs to communicate, let's put it that way. How he chooses to do it, whether it's through the people around him or himself. And he needs to be seen. And this, more than when I was in office. Now the leaders need to be seen on a daily basis. And, you know, with Mr. Trump tweeting on a day-to-day basis, there's now an expectation that these leaders are going to be on a day-to-day, almost day-to-day basis, going to be pronouncing on something.
Is it the best job or the worst job?
Being Premier? It's the best job. It's a real privilege. I mean, you know, how many, there's only one person in Ontario who's Premier of Ontario.
Doug Ford will be officially sworn into office on June 29th.